Hello everyone. A few days ago, we've discovered through the news that professional First League soccer player from Paris Saint Germain Soccer Club, Kylian Mbappé, granted current top striker in the club record, had been discarded from the team players selected for the training tour happening in Japan. Since summer 2017, Kylian Mbappé has signed a deal with the PSG Professional Soccer Club. 180 million euros have been spent to recruit him. Summer 2022, this contract is rebuilt for 2 more seasons plus 1 optional year. Professional soccer player Kylian Mbappé decides not to initiate this last optional year, with consequence to set him free for the 2024 upcoming summer. Nevertheless, the PSG wishes not to carry their agreement up to the end of the 2024 season with Kylian Mbappé that releases him for free. Therefore, the managers engage a trial of strength with the soccer player to provoke whether his sell during this 2023 summer soccer transfers or to having achieving its optional year to enable them to sell him on the next 2024 soccer transfer season for a substantial investment payback. The pressure put on Kylian Mbappé is materialized by the manager's decision to withdraw him from the all First League professional soccer teams tour training held in Asia. Along in this video, we are about to reveal on what level of risk the PSG Soccer Club managers are exposing themselves taking on their best team player, who happens to be the national French soccer team captain. To analyze the situation, we are going to refer to our expertise on this domain. Rooted in significant results, we have brought legal support to many professional soccer players encountering contractual misconduct from their club managers, blowing their career away. Here is our mathematics. The Professional Soccer Ethics acts as collective labor agreement. Its 507 article settles the soccer club's legal frontiers tolerated during the summer soccer transfer season. This article allows during July 1st up to September 1st to remold their teams, classifying them in groups. Still, this practice has to stay equal, similar and fair to either teams on healthcare, training methods and equipment, infrastructures, or any kind of other benefits. Group 2 has to be composed with the least of elite and professional soccer players. If this article seems to authorize the PSG Soccer Club to handle Kylian Mbappé on the second row before his potential transfer, it is vital to wonder about their nurtured motivations to sidelight him and their consequences. This point of view will help us to spot the topic further to bloom another sound than the by the news saying speech. Kylian Mbappé has accomplished his current 2022-23 season with no injuries on a great physical constant. In June, during this time of playoffs, workout, training and games with the national soccer team for the European Cup, he encountered no injuries of any kind. As agreed with the PSG Soccer Club managers, his vacation time and back-to-work period have been postponed because of these international playoffs. Went back to training with its club last July 17th, in great shape as he disputed an exhibition game with Le Havre Soccer Club in which he scored. Last year, the PSG managers admitted over many occasions their consideration about Kyllian as the world's best current soccer player. So, the motive why Kyllian has been discarded from his group is nor on health observation or lack of performances, but by the PSG Soccer Club financial interests. This treatment of Kyllian resembled as a punishment for refusal of complying to the optional year, knowing he had no obligation to sign it in. Apparently, over the news, PSG Soccer Club manager pretends they could have no needs of Kyllian performances on Group 1 up to September, with obligation to take him back onto the club with the option of keeping him full season in Group 2, counting him with on or off game selections. We wish to illustrate our analysis introducing the final court order we've obtained through criminal procedure filed by First League professional soccer player Anatole Gamukol. Summer 2018, back to training camp, this soccer player had been discarded by its employer, the Stade de Reims Soccer Club. You'll find available on this channel many videos recalling the facts and battle we fought about this case. In this procedure, SDR, Deputy Chief Executive Mr. Lacour, has been sentenced on civil interest about moral harassment by the Misdemeanor Appeal Court, a premiere in soccer history. The judges leaned on an abiding case law which states that not granting a confirmed task to an employee qualified for it, even on a paid salary, constitutes an offense of moral harassment with undetermined duration time of this decision. A metaphoric comparison of this case law would be on no justified motive demote a secretary whose task would only consist on stamping mail. The discards condition, outsighted from her work agreement and related tasks, automatically constitute the moral harassment case itself. Therefore, misplace a soccer player from his job assignments on an unjustified demote as for sport practice, then healthcare, constitute a threat to his dignity and professional career. So, from our point of view, hold a soccer player on a long-term demoted status constitutes a moral harassment offense, even if he might run a few playoffs. Still, these games would be played out of his group level 1. So, depriving Kyllian from his former high-level sport training by financial preferences, nor for legit sports or health reasons, could be reproached to the PSG club as not granting the soccer player's current job he's been hired for up to the due date on September 1st. The soccer club recruiting goals is to have players to play. Training camp sessions aim at optimizing their abilities to compete. If the soccer club leaves Kyllian over the bench for the upcoming season, even with a few first group level training sessions, the PSG club will still be out of the labor law frame. As for the French legal labor, it states obligations of health and safety of the employee are at charge of the employer. Harm to the body is medically and legally taken as physical and/or psychological damage. Is this labor law obligation respected by the PSG soccer club towards Kylian Mbappé? Plus, the criminal code stipulates on these terms: harassment of one by any repeated ways or behaviors which goal or effect is to degrade the labor conditions that undermine their rights and dignity, alter the mental and physical condition, or compromise their professional career, is punishable of 2 years incarceration and €30,000 fine. Let's recall the facts. First, the PSG Soccer Club chief executive states that Kyllian will not travel to Japan because of its unlifted contract option exercise. Then, he publicly announced that any soccer player not participating to the Asian tour was no longer part of the club ambitions despite their current rolling contract. To finish, the chief executive executed the sanction putting Kylian Mbappé aside from the Japan training camp. The goal of such treatments is to push Kylian Mbappé to leave the club before his contract due date or to force him into signing his optional year in. Aren't these facts the criminal definition of harassment? Aren't these repeated ways and behaviors aimed at undermining its dignity and alter his mental and physical conditions, compromising his professional career? Kyllian could claim an anticipated breach of its contract on serious misconduct motive, request a full salary payment plus retributory damages on prejudice reparations motive. He could refer these demands to the Court of Justice on unfair contract execution on civilian matters or a private prosecution on criminal offense. Despite being a labor law obstruction, this situation constitutes a criminal offense with all coercive sanctions resulting therefrom. Let's go further down the legal analysis of this situation. Article 312-1 from Criminal Code defines extortion as obtaining under violence, threat, or under duress, a signature, any involvement, or whether signed, secret revealed, money, or any valuables and wealth. The Kylian Mbappé psychological violence inflicted plus the forced discard from its main training group. The announcement's violence of his withdrawal from the soccer club or to push him to sign its optional year exercise in or a signed waiver of its current running contract to be signed in another soccer club. Aren't we in the Fundamental Criminal Code 312-1 article extortion definition? 312-6 Criminal Code article sentence organized gang extortion, 20 years criminal detention, €150,000 fine. attempted extortion is sentenced and qualified on 312-9 article as the 312-6. The PSG managers may have something on the line. Following up the media announcements, the district attorney could issue an internal request. This case would then, instead of misdemeanor court, be prosecuted directly in criminal or assize court on gang-organized extortion charges. We will have more to speak lawfully about this case, but let's conclude with the followings. Kyllian is the national French soccer team captain. He has performed 2 World Cups plus several international playoffs as he was in the best condition in this club. He disputed the highest competition levels that maintained him into his greatest shape. Therefore, being put on the bench by the private PSG soccer club weakens his performances and so affects his psychological stability. A psychologically diminished professional player placed in a constitutive settled harassment system exposes him to a higher risk of injury than a main group player. Diminished performances or an injury would have tremendous consequences on his duty or availability in the national French soccer team, being the image of it as its captain. Depriving Kyllian of optimizing his performances, exposing him to a higher risk of serious injury could be considered as a prejudice from PSG soccer club to the French national soccer team and so to the whole French nation. When it comes to sports, the French national soccer team internationally represents the French nation. As a result, the French government could file a suit against the PSG soccer club. The head of the Sports and Youth Ministry could apply the Article 40 from the Criminal Procedure Code and seize with no delay the district attorney. Notwithstanding the fact that Kyllian is a PSG club employee, he is a French Soccer Federation licensee. The state must guarantee his safety as any French citizen attached to a social or economical practice. French Soccer Federation, as an authorized entity of public service duty, must guarantee public peace unto soccer organizations who cannot oppose themselves to the French Republic order. Each citizen considered prejudiced could file a civil suit jointly with the district attorney or seize the civil court by themselves upon prejudice reparation for claimed damages. What would be the monetary compensatory amount for the whole French nation then? Let's step now upon the administrative and disciplinary aspects. The FSF is an authorized entity of public service duty by the Youth and Sports Ministry. The FSF delegates powers to the French Soccer League, the professional soccer mapping. Therefore, the FSL becomes a deputy organ of public service duty itself. These 2 entities have obligations they cannot release themselves from, such as the respect in the soccer universe unto the French Republic value. Numerous texts precisely illustrate these obligations. Here are a few. The first article of the French Soccer Federation status says, "The Federation and its decentralized bodies are organ in charge of public service duty delegated by the state, promote the French Republic fundamentals, and shall introduce all ways and means to avoid discrimination or attempt on one's dignity related to their gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, social status, physical appearance, or end-use nor beliefs. Any offender to these statements would be prosecuted on criminal and/or disciplinary charges." Appendix 8 of the French Soccer Federation status named the 11 Soccer Fundamental Principles on Game and Togetherness, mentioned on its 5th principle. In a world of growing inequalities, solidarity and tolerance gather humans together, a wonderful tool of social integration and individuals fostering. Soccer practice unites men and women with no goals nor ways of opposing them by characters of ethnicity, citizenship, tongues, religious or political view, social status, physical appearance, age, disabilities, gender, nor sexual orientation. It belongs to the relevant bodies to prevent any discrimination and guarantee any harm to one's integrity nor dignity. Shall it be by moral or physical violences, harassment, or any other aggression aiming to segregate nor ostracize one's entity? The soccer authorities need to respect the French Republic enrolling contract, so shall all actors in the soccer universe on law and ethics. We may mention Article 7 from the Soccer Ethics and Professional Conduct Policy. The soccer authorities agreed to dictate all rules to preserve equity and integrity as warranty of soccer practice, scrutinize if respected, otherwise forces punishment of violations. Recently, the National Ethics Council estimated that after the final court decision on moral harassment charges upon former First League professional soccer player Anatole Ngamikol, the disciplinary board should be seized against the Rennes Stadium Soccer Club and its managers. Still, after the court final decision, the National Ethics Council should seize the disciplinary board to build the necessary punishment against the PSG Soccer Club and managers too. These sanctions are issued from the standard text where the list goes from a reminder up to deregistration and French Soccer Federation membership cancellation and so forth to the French Soccer League. How could the main soccer authorities support a soccer club which armed one of their players on purpose upon malpractice compared to criminal extortion and harassment? It is not requested to have a court decision to carry on an administrative penalty. So the soccer authorities should seize themselves upon such cases. From the standard text, the PSG could encounter deregistration and taken off all playoffs. As completion, we briefly take on the political view. The Youth and Sport Ministry, which delegates a public service duty as power to the FSF, has looked over soccer labor malpractice called law. Former Youth and Sport Minister, Ms. Maracineanu, had taken a clear position after her bureau ran an investigation about such practices. An official mail was sent to the French Soccer League chief executive asking what measures would they implement to eradicate this malpractice called loft, used to discard soccer players, and what administrative penalties would follow Anatole Ngamikol's final court decision. New current Youth and Sports Minister, Oudéa Castéra, has chosen not to keep up with the public service duty continuation topic on loft. Contemptuously considering the fight against the loft a malpractice, a psychological violence inflicted to professional soccer players. Doesn't she become therefore a partner in crime in this malpractice, guilty of rescue omission? We've studied these inquiries as topics for another upcoming report. As you may have noticed, our organization has accomplished a tremendous investigation work upon the loft's malpractice. Our current battle has brought us to a historical administrative and court decisions and ministry political position. School bullying, which destroys most of our youth, the future of our nation, has been set up as national calls on a meticulous awareness campaign. On this topic, the Youth and Sports Minister applied the Article 40 from the Criminal Procedure Code about sexual harassment and gender-based violence. So why did the minister deliberately chose not to bring its sovereign support up, required to any victims of moral harassment and soccer practitioners despite the current court decisions and established political position? Everyone needs to know that the thoughts process underlined in this video are to apply to all players victims of such malpractices. It sheds light on the possible guilt of the PSG Soccer Club and so forth on any soccer club handling by identical terms such malpractice. In partnership with the National Professional Soccer Union UNFP, our organization aspires to inventory all players with an established discarded situation reported by the soccer bodies over these past 6 years, the legal duration prescription time to file a suit. It opens them the opportunity to sue upon civil or criminal charges the soccer club managers guilty of bending rules or breaking the law. About extortion, within time, we are in progress with law national clerks aiming to obtain a court decision on behalf of the people of the French nation that will set a landmark case. Stay tuned, while hopefully the bodies in charge of the sport's citizens' respect and dignity will eradicate this loft malpractice.
Cache, Mbappé.
Oh, encore, toujours. Cette fois-ci, c'est la
Hernandez qui centre bien, ça a été contre au dernier moment. Et Mbappé qui accélère, et qui lâche ce ballon entre les jambes de notre ami Armani. Et bon, allez, ça va mieux.
Mal dégagé, et puis c'est Kylian Mbappé qui fait la diff là, qui arrive à faire ce petit crochet, puis derrière ça frappe croisé pied gauche.
Et Armani qui est face à Vida. Oh, ça fait 3 buts d'avance pour les Bleus. Est-ce que c'est terminé? Sans doute pas. Il y a Hugo Loris, le capitaine.
Allez,
prends ton temps, Hugo.
Prends ton temps, tranquille. La fais pas tomber.
Allez. La France est championne du monde de football. La France est championne